We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Tinfoil Hat Club, episode 3, Smedley, Butler, and the Business Plot.
Smedley, Butler, and the Business Plot.
We are here again with myself, resident cryptid and spirit worker John Adams, and my trusty companion and compatriot, Doc Mannix, occult phenomenologist.
Yes, indeed. And This is the granddaddy of all American conspiracy theories.
I'm so excited.
I know. Not least because you can, if you really, really put in the work, you can almost connect the dots back to the primordial Golden Knights of the Golden Circle, which was the forerunner of the KKK.
Oof.
Who were organizing to invade Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia, like basically create a slave empire that encircled the Gulf of Mexico, thus the Golden Circle.
Yeah.
And they were going to do that. We talked about that way back on our first episode together, I think.
Okay.
I was telling you about their little project, but that definitely is an intellectual seed, shall we say?
Okay.
Of this project. You can't actually connect the dots of like the great grandsons of the men who were doing that were involved in this.
Yeah.
But the same class interests were definitely at work in both plots.
Yeah.
And Smedley Butler, of course, you were a Marine at one point in your...
Okay, so yes, I was not ever a Marine, but I did spend 2.5 months in boot camp back in 1989, and I got a medical discharge after starving myself to maintain the weight requirement and not drinking water because I didn't like having to ask to use the bathroom. So I ended up in the hospital. Not so great.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
But okay, so you were not actually I know you didn't actually serve
Yeah, I did not get into the fleet. I didn't march across the parade deck.
Yeah, you didn't get into the Corps, but you were in boot camp as a Marine.
Yes.
So you got direct experience of the culture.
Yeah.
To the extent that I don't need to tell you who Smedley Butler was.
Smedley Butler.
At the time of his retirement,
yes,
he was
Major General Smedley. Gotcha.
The most decorated Marine in history at the time of his retirement. And despite the fact that several Marines have earned more decorations in their careers since then, he's the only one who gets remembered as the most decorated Marine because he was the first most decorated Marine.
Interesting.
He was the first Marine to achieve so many decorations that it was noteworthy.
Yeah, he'd multiple medals of honors, an Army Distinguished Service Medal, Marine Corps Brevet Medal, and a Navy Distinguished Service Medal. Man, it's like he was collecting Pokemon. 36 years, earned 16 medals, most decorated Marine veteran of all time.
Yeah, and just the highlights. He was in the Philippines in 1899, the Boxer Rebellion in 1900.
Okay.
During the Banana Wars, which is the real subtopic of we're talking about Butler and the Business Plot, but what we're talking about is the Banana Wars.
Okay.
And in the Banana Wars, he was in Honduras in 1903, Nicaragua from 1909 to 1912, Veracruz in 1914, and Haiti in 1915.
Yeah.
And that's just the highlights. He was very active. He spent a lot of time in Panama too. World War II, he was...
Well, someone's got to defend the interests of Chiquita.
Well, yes.
or Dole.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
In World War One, he was put in an organizational command, um, where he was responsible for the big camp for the troops disembarking from the ships to go out to the front, and um, got great credit for organizing the hospitals in such a way that he was able to reduce deaths from disease and trench foot and other, like, just putting down duck boards, requisitioning duck boards from the Navy, like, got him a medal. Like,
Nobody had ever thought of it
and
before.
then he was very instrumental in turning Quantico into the mother base for the Corps. Um,
I live like 10 minutes from Quantico for those watching.
yeah,
I can hear ordnance often.
there you go. And then he was the director of public safety for the city of Philadelphia in the 1920s, which was
Mm.
a real sort of gangbusters. I can't remember the name of the guy from the Untouchables who was in Chicago, but very similar kind of tough on crime. Put a Marine in charge of reforming the city's police, uh, dealing with bootleggers and
If we
crooked
just treated our
cops.
citizens like serving troops, everything would be fine. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that he was like, that was one of those pivot points where professionalizing the police force made the city safer, more so than the actual, like, sending cops with Tommy guns to get rum runners.
Well, it certainly made the city safer for the rich people who
Well, and
wanted.
it also made the city safer for poor people because the cops weren't shaking them down because they were acting as a professional police force for the first time.
That didn't last long, but yeah.
No, it didn't last long. I mean, he only did it for a few years, but he did make a point of getting rid of crooked cops,
Okay.
and realizing that he wasn't able to break up the gangs unless he broke up the crooked cops.
Well, the gangs
And
within the police force, yeah.
right, and then he was sent to China from 1927 to 1929, which most Americans have no idea about the China Marines unless they've watched The Sandpiper.
Hmm.
And unless you're a particular fan of that hunky blonde guy from Escape from Stalag 13,
Steve McQueen?
Steve McQueen.
Uh,
Yeah, unless you're like a big Steve McQueen fan, you're probably not someone who's watched The Sandpiper. Because it's a very slow burn, not very actiony action movie about the China Marines, or about the U.S. occupation of China in the late 1920s, um, which was one of those things that we were doing during the era of the Banana Wars.
yeah. 1927 to 1941.
Yeah, went
To
on
protect
throughout.
American citizens and their property and interests in the
Yeah,
Shanghai
property
International
and
Settlement.
interests of American citizens in China.
Yeah.
And to be fair, China was wildly unstable at the time. That's just an objective fact. There were literal warlords running large swaths of the country, and then there were the Chinese communists, and then there were the Chinese nationalists, and then there were the Japanese. All of whom were fighting over who got to murder the most members of the working class. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but we were there, he was there, and he retired from the army in 1931. So it wasn't really long. It was basically, I was reading about this afternoon. He was passed over for promotion to commandant of the Marine Corps, I think in favor of Lejeune.
Okay.
And you don't have to really look at it too much, but it seems like Lejeune was the better choice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it also seems like Hoover did not particularly like Butler. It's important to remember that President Hoover was in the Corps of Engineers,
Hmm.
and he was the officer in command of the defenses of the U.S. delegation at Peking during the Boxer Rebellion.
Hmm. Okay.
So he would almost certainly have had some interactions with Butler during the siege of Peking. Um, they were not particularly keen on each other,
Yeah.
though. And we can have a whole debate about who that is the indictment of. I think wasn't President Hoover also a Quaker?
Oh gosh. Let's look up.
I know that Butler's family were Quakers.
He was born to a Quaker, and
Yeah, so
he's
they were
born and
both
raised a Quaker, but he
they were
rarely attended meetings.
yeah, so they were both from Quaker background. Uh, Butler's father was a congressman from Pennsylvania, as was his maternal grandfather.
Hmm.
So he was like from money. He was from privilege. He one of the reasons he was able to be so successful and consistently get promoted was that his father was the chair of the Navy Finance Committee.
That's helpful.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
Like, I love it when people are like, "We live in a meritocracy." The fuck you talking about?
Well,
The
I
fuck
mean,
you talking about?
you look at his service record, and he was definitely always like striving to be more than a nepo baby. Like
And
one of
and I
the
and I can respect that, but yeah, I have feelings, but that's for another time.
well, no, it's just I have the same feelings,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of, you know, if you're giving great privilege, you can either take advantage of it or you can go, I'm going to make the best of every single opportunity, to prove that I actually deserve to be here.
And I have a great deal of respect for that as long as you're not pulling the ladder up behind you,
Right, exactly.
right?
And that brings us to Butler in retirement after 1931 when he retired from the Corps. Actually, before that, one of the reasons he had to uh, one of the reasons he was passed over for commandant had to do with having had the audacity to. I want to look this one up. He had um, spoken in front of reporters about Benito Mussolini, and said something. What was it? Let me find this. He had basically. Um, I can't find the quote in the article, but he was asked about Mussolini, and he told the truth about something embarrassing that Mussolini had done
Mm.
in such a way
And
that was embarrassing to the United States government. It was
oops.
undiplomatic for a Marine general to
He's a
call
dick, sir.
to call the. Oh, there it is. Wait, okay. Uh, all right.
Uh
I'm out of. Oh, my wig. Uh,
oh.
all right. So, comments about Mussolini resurfaced. Where does it go? Oh, there it is. 1931, violated diplomatic norms by publicly recounting gossip about Mussolini, in which the dictator allegedly struck and killed a child while speeding, with his speeding automobile in a hit and run accident.
Oh my God. Okay. In it looks like he related a 4-day boisterous rip with Mussolini through northern Italy. A small child standing on the right tried to beat the Fiat across the road. The car shuddered. I felt the wheels go up, then come down. I turned quickly to look. I can still see the little crumpled up body lying in the road. Then I felt a hand on my right knee, and I heard a voice saying, "Never look back, Mr. Vanderbilt. Never look back in life."
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit. And that is yeah.
The
That's
Italian government,
Cornelius. That's a story from Cornelius Vanderbilt.
right?
And yeah,
Who Butler would have
Smedley
known.
commented on it.
Yeah, so Butler would have known Vanderbilt, and definitely that sounds like Mussolini.
Yeah, it was only one life. He told my friend, "What is one life in the affairs of a state?" And I would like every viewer to acknowledge that that's what we're going through right fucking now.
That is that statement is the "what's wrong with fascism" question
Yeah.
answered.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is like
You know,
it is absolutely
some lives matter more than others, which is not
yes.
okay. It's not okay.
And speaking of lives that apparently matter less than others,
Yeah,
let's talk about the bonus army.
the bonus army.
So, over the course of Butler's career, we talked about his service in World War One, and after World War One, and he left the army, or he left the Marines in 1931, which would have been the second year of the second real year of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
The market crashed in October of 1929.
Yep.
Just 2 days ago would be the anniversary of that, actually, as
Yeah.
we're recording this.
Yeah.
And the market crashed in October 29. 1930 was the first year. 31 was the second year.
Yeah.
And
this was the Veterans March. To
yeah, the
ask
Veterans
for the
March.
tombstone bonus.
Well, the United States military, the Department of War, had a long tradition going back to Washington of offering soldiers bonus pay after the war is won, in lieu of pay that the government cannot afford to give them, and that they have no place to spend it. They're at war. Where are you going to spend your pay? You're on an island you're in a frozen valley in Pennsylvania. There's nothing to buy.
Oh yeah.
So we will, when the war is won, we will pay you.
When the war is won, we'll pay you, and then we'll create an entirely predatory economy.
Well, yes. Don't say that part in front of the guys.
Holy fuck.
Right. So truly the history of this happening has always also been accompanied by the government trying to weasel out of honoring those bonuses,
or honoring any pact that it made with the American people.
That's not untrue.
Yeah, it looks like every 80 years, enough people in a population in a country are like, this is fucking bullshit. Most of my friends are suffering and starving, and there are a couple of people that we're told about who get to live these lavish lifestyles. And being able to have that window into the rich only works for so long before everybody starts going, you know what, fuck that guy and his yacht.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And like we are very much in a 1929 kind of economy now.
We're in a fuck the yacht moment.
Yeah. And the that is definitely flavoring the relevance of Butler's career because when the economy was crashing and
Yeah.
the economy had crashed, the Dust Bowl had begun, which was a natural disaster that compounded the economic disaster of the market crash.
Oh yeah, the that was
And
nightmarish from the reports that I've read.
so World War One veterans got together to demand the government pay their bonuses so that they would have the liquidity to keep their small businesses, their farms, their houses, whatever.
Yeah.
And to that end, they marched from all over the United States.
It looks like the official beginning, according to the National Park Service, said it would have been in Portland, Oregon. 400 veterans had gathered there by May 17th, 1932, under Walter Waters, and a long
Yes.
trek to Washington aboard freight trains, loaned to them for free by the rail authorities.
And Hoover, they came to DC, which is crazy to think about. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know, like especially after the 18th,
yeah.
seeing the like, what if all of those people who came for the 18th set up a camp on the mall and just stayed,
What
which is basically
What
what
if
they
that
did.
happens? What if that happens on 11/22, the next big protest date? What if people just park and decide not to leave? The
I,
optics of shooting and gassing those people, I
yeah,
mean,
like
holy crap.
we'll have to see how it goes, but like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
uh the the upshot of the bonus march, Butler came and spoke to them on the first day.
Okay.
After 2 or 3 days, President Hoover, absolute icon
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
American of
Yeah.
American
A
leadership,
real friend to the veteran.
he he got fed up
Yeah.
and he ordered Douglas motherfucking MacArthur
Yep. Yep.
to clear the marchers from the mall.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there were around 10 to 20,000 people that
Yeah.
were just kind of hanging out, and
Well,
yeah.
there was the on the mall were the marchers, but then their families had built a shanty town in Anacostia across the river.
Camp Bartlett. Okay. Okay. 12th Street and B Street,
Yep.
3rd Street and Pennsylvania, and the largest was a 30-acre site on the Anacostia Flats. Mm.
So this story gets even better because there was, of course, a riot
Well, yeah.
because you've got veterans versus active duty,
Well, I mean, you
and
when you
nobody
start
likes them.
when you
The
start
only
using.
people who want to fight our soldiers are our veterans.
Yeah, and it's like you using tear gas and bayonets and setting fire to the shanty towns. Maybe not definitely a bold move,
Okay,
but
so the
the
setting fire
fuck.
to the shanty town, the the veterans withdrew to protect their families.
Yeah, yeah,
MacArthur ordered the cavalry to go across the bridge.
yeah. It looks like the camp.
His
The,
aide, Dwight D. Eisenhower, came up and said, "Sir, the nation will never forgive you." He said, Your complaint is duly noted. These are like the two great heroes of World War II.
Yep.
Engaged in one of the like darkest crimes in American.
Well, I think that was what was that the first time that tanks armed with machine guns were basically rolling around in DC?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
There were three. There were three or four Hotchkiss tanks with the troops. I was going to say darkest crimes again, darkest crimes in American military history, but subsection against the American people.
Oh yeah, there were. I'm seeing.
You do have to subsection this darkest crimes in American military history.
Oh yeah. Well, it's apparently one of the troop members said we hate this more than they do, but they brought it on themselves.
You know, like that attitude has always existed. Like, why must you make me be such a bad Christian?
Yeah. Why are you making me hit you? Stop
Yes,
making me hit you.
yes. I want to be a good Christian, but you keep tempting me to kick you in the teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, very Jesus-y of you.
Yeah.
Um,
God, what a mess.
this riot was a turning point for Butler, along with many other Americans, um, in that he, like so many, was outraged by the violence and really became a full-on class traitor and began touring the country, uh, publicizing his book, which was an expansion on a speech which he gave called War is a Racket.
Oh God, I remember that.
And War is a Racket is a absolutely fantastic recitation of how his career from the Spanish American War through the through World War One and China was persistently doing the work of gangsters to just rob people elsewhere in the world and bring their wealth back for on behalf of just gangsters. He referred to them as I think he actually did say gangsters. He used all of the like language that he would have picked up when he was doing public safety in Philadelphia.
I'm seeing a quote from him. I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service as a member of this country's most agile military force, the Marine Corps. I served in all commissioned ranks from second lieutenant to major general. And during that period, I spent most of my time being a high class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, and for the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer, a gangster for capitalism.
This resonated with people, surprisingly.
Yeah, right? Shit.
And he was extremely popular, touring with the War is a Racket thing. And in 1933, two goons from the American Legion named McGuire and Doyle, because it would have to be a couple of mix, approached him about a plan to raise a corps of veterans from within the American Legion to march on Washington again and overthrow FDR and install Butler as a military dictator.
Yow.
Yeah. And Butler did not immediately refuse. He took a couple more meetings with the guys because he wanted to figure out, one, if they were serious, and two, who it was who was backing them.
Yeah.
And then he reported that to the United States Congress. And long story short, Congress had an investigation in which they stated that the what is it? This committee has had no evidence before it that would in the slightest degree warrant calling before it such men as John W. Davis, General Hugh Johnson, General Harvard, Thomas W. Lamont, Admiral Sims, or Hanford McNider. The committee will not take cognizance of names brought into testimony which constitute mere hearsay. This committee is not concerned with premature newspaper accounts, especially when given and published prior to the taking of testimony, and so on. They basically went, yeah, fake news.
Yeah.
We're not going to impugn the reputation of these big time business fascists.
Yeah. Oh.
But my favorite thing I uncovered in researching this was that there's a persistent rumor that one of the bad guys, one of the rich white men behind the scenes of this plot to install a fascist dictator in the United States, was Prescott Bush, the father of George Herbert Walker Bush, grandfather of the illustrious George W. Bush. The problem is that most historians who've investigated it have come to the conclusion that Bush already had like his ties to the Nazi party through his bank were already too close for him to have been a secret agent. They couldn't have possibly. He couldn't have gotten involved in something like that because he was already too closely associated with the Nazis.
Oopsie.
He would have probably supported it had it, gone forward.
Well, there
But he
were, I
probably
mean,
wasn't involved in it
back during World War
directly.
II, there were plenty of people who were pro-Nazi in this country.
Oh yeah, well, Lindbergh. Speaking
Lindbergh,
of
Ford,
Lindbergh,
a whole bunch of fucking senators.
Ford had a life-size portrait of Adolf Hitler in his office.
Yep, they wrote to each other. They were buddies.
They wrote each other little letters.
Yeah.
They were little buddies.
If you are watching and you have not yet checked out Rachel Maddow's Ultra, man, get an education because that's a head fuck.
So yeah, that's the story up to there. Is the Congress just said, nah, we're not going to impugn these men's reputations by asking them if they were involved in a fascist plot to overthrow the government. And
That again?
yeah, and
I feel like I'm underdressed. Hang on. We're getting a little deeper, so all right. Here we go.
So yeah, like the fascist plot to take over the United States government has been like, this is the roots of it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what we do have when it comes to the Bush family after the business plot, after the Second World War, is Operation Paperclip, where
the operation to hire all the Nazis that we could get from Germany.
Speaking of recommendations worth checking out, I'm so embarrassed to be blanking on her name because it was right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
I hate it when that happens too. But there's an author who wrote a
Do you remember?
book about Operation Paperclip and um, spoke at Politics and Prose
I can't see with this.
several years ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, I'm going to actually send you the link for it so that you can add it to the show notes
Annie Jacobson.
for our devoted watcher.
Annie Jacobson.
Annie Jacobson, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Annie Jacobson
All right.
does a really good talk on. Mute. No, 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 no. Mute. How to get some. What did I just do? I feel so dumb. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm trying to get you this link.
I found a YouTube video for her as well, and I'll go ahead and put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I think I'm sending you the link that you just found. But
Okay.
we'll just be redundant for thoroughness.
Hey, man, it's all
And yeah,
good.
like the Operation Paperclip thing is just mind blowing because on one hand, you totally understand the perspective of not wanting all of this expertise to fall into the hands of the Soviets.
And I oof. Okay, so I have big feelings about how many Nazi scientists worked with Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I am concerned at. I mean, didn't Einstein try to warn people that it's like, by the way, you create a bomb that can wipe literal cities from the face of the earth. What happens if the person you don't like gets it?
Yeah. Well, and
You know?
that is like the big like abstract question that we just decided like once the A-bomb existed, it was like, well, I guess we don't have to have that moral conversation anymore.
Well, they certainly fucking didn't because they made the payloads bigger and bigger and bigger. We're gonna blow a hole in the fucking planet if we get much bigger. It's ridiculous.
Now we're in a phase of nuclear rearmament.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Which,
America, we decided to ask Ukraine to get rid of their nukes so that Russia could literally destroy them. It's awful.
yeah, I mean it's absurd. I mean, I don't want to get distracted by the Ukraine war because we still haven't talked about the war in Venezuela yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is sort of the point. But what makes this topic, what makes this topical is that we're conducting another illegal war that the American people barely know about.
Yeah.
In the same region.
Oh yeah. It's that whole history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes thing.
Like the Butler was in Nicaragua. William Walker, who was the de facto leader of the Knights of the Golden Circle as an active paramilitary project prior to the Civil War in the 1840s and 50s, he was ultimately executed having made himself president of Nicaragua. And
Texas.
The people of the surrounding countries, including Venezuela, sent their armies and overthrew him and charged him with piracy.
Mm.
And they sent him to the wall. And there's a very, very weird movie from the 1980s called Walker, which is a very surreal retelling.
Alex Cox, isn't he like that punk rock director dude?
Yeah, well, that's the amazing thing about it is that on one hand, it has this weird quality of being very historically accurate for most of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it does definitely like take some weird liberties in order to make commentary on American adventures in Latin America from the 1980s when the movie was made.
Yeah.
Uh, it's definitely worth a watch. Like, it's a good shoot 'em up movie. Like,
I do like Ed Harris, and apparently
yeah,
he
Ed
plays
Harris is
William
pretty
Walker.
great.
So yeah, I'll check it out.
There's like, Wild West style gunfights and weird politics and, pretty good gamma hooching scene at one point.
Well, it looks like they're trying to goose this as I don't even know, man, because the poster says before Rambo, before Oliver North, and I'm like, those are wildly different character. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
you have a
yet
movie
at the
character
same
and then
time,
a literal Hollywood villain who helped Reagan beat Jimmy Carter for the
yeah,
presidency. Like shit.
yeah, like the crazy thing about like comparing him to Oliver North is it really speaks to how like conservatives know about this shit. Like
Hmm.
they act dumb, and
Well,
you can
that's
you can
That's a whole Southern strategy thing. You don't
yeah.
say the thing because saying the thing makes sure that you don't get into office. So you either obfuscate or you outright lie and then do what you want when you get in office anyway.
Well, it's a very like first rule of Fight Club kind of thing where
Yeah.
like you can't let anyone know that you're thoroughly versed in the entire history of the Klan. Uh, yeah,
Because you're giving away the game at that point.
down
You're,
to the point that you have read multiple biographies of Albert Pike. like not just one, you had to read the Masonic biography of Albert Pike and the military biography of Albert Pike.
oh my God, masonry is a march and a struggle towards the light.
I can't help but love my Albert Pike, even though he's definitely like a far shot from being any kind of good guy.
Yeah.
Although he was really cool with natives,
Hmm.
uh, which which
So
is
he only
a
fucked over other people, not indigenous tribes?
well, okay. So like, here's the thing: is like it speaks to the like complexity of the relationships between the colonizers and the indigenous in the early republic. That the Choctaw were considered one of the civilized tribes, and he organized the Choctaw Light Horse, who were sympathetic to the Confederacy
Mm-hmm.
and acted as light cavalry scouts for the Confederacy in the Deep Southern campaigns. And understanding, because we have our contemporary understanding of the war between the states as being, the federal government saying no more slavery, you guys have to stop being bad people, you know like you don't spend enough time around Quakers and we do.
Yeah.
They're good influence.
Yeah. Human beings are not farm animals.
And then there's the reality of, while that was happening, at the same time the federal government was fucking over the indigenous Americans. The largest legally sanctioned mass hanging in United States history happened during the Civil War in Minnesota because of a native uprising.
Mm-hmm.
And Reagan, that's a Freudian slip. Lincoln basically ordered all of the men who took part in the uprising to be hanged on the same day on the same platform.
Got to make a
Shocking.
statement.
Yeah, make a statement, exactly. And so, because of the way that the federal government was treating the natives, the natives found common cause with the southern planters,
Yeah.
at least because a lot of natives owned slaves.
Yeah.
Slavery was part of their culture. And as like it was not chattel slavery as it existed among the southern planter class, but slaves taken in war. There was a whole intricate understanding of, you know, if you get attacked by this tribe, it's better to just surrender because they have a whole honor code about how they treat people captured in war, and you'll be treated better. But if you fight, then they have to kill you because of the same honor code. But then you go to another tribe and it's like, oh no, 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 you fight, and like if they're winning, save your last bullet for yourself, because all they do is torture people to death.
Oh, wow.
Like all And it was a huge spectrum of
Yeah.
very different civilizations and cultures, you know, which we've lost. That like there are 500, we talk about there are 500 tribes, 500 nations of indigenous peoples, but 500 left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and not all of the ones that were lost were like happy woodland Indians who weren't hurting nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a the idea that like there were whole tribes that went savage. We'll get right back into talking about Bigfoot if we stay on this topic too
Yeah.
long.
Right. Yeah.
But but that context, like Albert Pike was a friend to the Indians,
Mm. Yeah.
and he did actually, before the war was over, he basically went, this whole Confederacy thing is bullshit, I'm out.
Hmm.
So he denounced this Confederacy before the war ended and went back to live in Indian country and just be a crazy wizard dude there. So he's a very complicated figure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely on the wrong side of history, but a complicated figure and an interesting one.
Well, the
And
unfortunate thing
also,
is that everybody is a complicated figure. We're none of us
yeah,
are
that's what
one
makes history.
thing, and if a big negative or a big positive about us gets revealed, then that kind of overshadows everything else we've ever done.
Yeah, well, and it's important to keep that complexity in mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
like with, I mean, you read the first half of Smedley Butler's life, and speaking of John Rambo, thinking of a combination of John Rambo and Oliver North, like
Ah.
John Rambo and Oliver North wish they were Smedley Butler. Like, because like honestly, if you dig into it and you read the like the action he got awarded for in Haiti would be considered a brave action, fighting anyone anywhere, like very outnumbered, long fight, but against Haitian rebels who are notoriously not people you want to fight.
Yeah.
Would you would you rather fight a bear or Haitian rebels?
Yeah.
Like I'm going with the bear. Like the
Well, I
like
mean, it's shit. That's kind of Audie Murphy level audacity, right?
yeah, exactly. And I think that's where the whole, like, because he was a privileged person, he was like really into leading from the front, and that's why
Mm.
his men loved him so much, was because he wasn't a gentleman officer.
Yeah.
And he was the fighting Quaker. He was out there. One of his nicknames was Old Gimlet Eye, which sent me down this crazy rabbit hole of a tool that I own that I never actually knew had a proper name, which a gimlet is basically a miniature awl.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's it's an awl for making very fine holes. So it's very sharp.
Yeah.
And so he's called Old Gimlet Eye after this tool for boring into things
Hmm.
and being sharp eyed. And the drink with gin or vodka and lime juice is named after the tool that was like really stingy sharp.
Interesting.
Right. So he was not a drunk,
Hmm.
which is what I always thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Vodka gimlets were actually my mom's drink back in the 80s when people had cocktails at bars and things. So,
Martinis were my mom's.
yeah, so like um, the old gimlet eye, I always thought that was because he was like, he could put them back, but no, it was because he was sharp eyed.
Yeah, yeah.
Which a fascinating character. Great integrity, not accepting the offer to be fascist dictator of the United States in 1931, 33. That would have been a very different 20th century.
It really would have been. I mean, you imagine what happened if he had said yes and like full
Right, that's what I
throated
mean.
support, right? You know, I mean, we
Like,
were already on the precipice of pretty much sucking Adolf off as a
well, I mean,
country.
like that was the thing is like Lindbergh had almost won when he ran against Roosevelt in 32, and he would like his whole America First party was very popular. Lindbergh was very popular. Lindbergh only like even like when I was a kid.
All I remember as a kid was the Lindbergh babies this and the Lindbergh baby that.
Oh, see, I'm a little bit younger than you, and all I remember is he flew across the Atlantic and it was fucking wonderful. And he was goddamn handsome, and then sad baby. But
Sad murdered baby.
yes, that baby disappeared. Um, but like I was going to like woke DC public schools, and
Hmm.
that's what they were talking about Charles Lindbergh. No one talked about how he was a Nazi.
Well, I mean, nobody talked about how, but well, I mean, none of it was really available to the public. And the immensity of the literal conspiracy to overthrow the government, which we should, you know, I like Rachel Maddow did such a great job on it. I don't know what else I could add.
Yeah,
But it's a little nervy, and when you look at the fact to get off, not so much off topic, but sort of, you look at the rise of neo-fascism throughout the world right now.
yeah,
It's basically a couple of old guys that are wanting to hold on to power so they can continue raping children, and
pretty
hurting
much.
people.
Well, and like and all of these other like the the just the siphoning off of all of the money to these mostly pedos. I do not under. We'll get into that in another episode, like why it is. I have my own theory that there's an element of control.
Well, I would think that you have some people for whom it is their life's goal. Like they feel alive when they're doing horrible things to children or other people,
There's
and
that.
they coerce others by saying you need to be in the room with me. That way, I have something on you, and
Right.
it's
Well, that's the thing is like it's sort of the like
it's
the
like a basic
idea
CIA
that
tactic to get somebody in a really compromised position with a kid so nobody wants that to come out. Your career would be
right,
ruined.
right,
Yeah.
and the CIA do that, the KGB do that, the Mossad do
Yep.
that, MI6 do that.
Everybody
Now
does it.
everybody does it now. Some of them have like I was watching a guy, an ex-CIA guy,
Yeah.
who was talking
Is this
about
Andrew Bustamante?
yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
I'm starting to think that he's
Or
that
wait,
he's a
was it him or was it another guy? I don't remember for sure. It doesn't matter particularly, but the
yeah.
guy was saying how like when he worked for the agency, like there were strict boundaries around like what crimes you would facilitate.
And yeah.
You want your sub you want your subjects or whatever engaging in crimes so that you can blackmail them later,
But
or
you
so that
want them
you can gain
engaging in
knowledge.
crimes that they will feel enough shame around that you can
But
easily lead them where you want them to go.
like he talked about how he talked about a specific case where a guy a guy who was trying to get intel from a source uh wanted a kid,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was just sort of like, yeah, no, we're not going to do
I
that.
think I saw that interview. I believe it was Andrew Bustamante. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that the other thing he was saying less directly, because you got to say certain things somewhat less directly, was that other agencies, particularly the Mossad,
Hmm.
do not operate within those ethical
Not at
frameworks.
all. Not at all. And
But
I would venture to say that that's bullshit. That the CIA will provide children. It's
well,
just he
okay, here's
can't
the thing: is
say
I
that.
think that there are agents
There are certain
in the
agents. It's that whole moral flexibility thing. You know,
right,
it
right.
really.
That's the thing, is the agency won't,
Oh yeah.
but there are agents who will.
Oh yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
the I dated a woman in high school whose father worked for them.
Hmm.
Never met such just irritatingly squeaky clean people. Just so boring. You kind of felt contempt for them.
I mean, if that's a lifestyle that you want, I don't even know, man. There are so many people for whom they feel safe going. Well, I don't really talk about politics. No, that you can't do that. If you want to live in a society that is functional, that has the things that you want in it, you have to talk and you have to engage
Politics is talking about
politics.
you. What is it?
Exactly.
It's like, I don't do politics.
Politics
Well,
literally
politics is you
shapes
and
the
you, baby.
yeah, politics literally shapes the society that you live in. And
Hmm.
if we opt out, then we get what we didn't or we did vote for.
Well, right. Well, and it's like
But we should probably pull it back to Smedley. We're at
Smedley.
57
Well, I mean
minutes.
that's okay. So it's like the this is kind of, it does tie back to, because we're talking about the economy,
Yeah, yeah.
the racket.
Yep,
Like, war is a racket. Politics is a racket.
yep.
Now we live in a
Technology
society
is a
where
racket.
technology is a huge racket.
Mm,
We have a constitution that gives us the tools to regulate the political racket and get the game to work in our favor.
yeah,
But we all have to be politically active for that to happen.
yeah, yeah.
And that is, it's a weird compromise, because like being poor, not having your needs met, not knowing when you're going to get to go to the doctor next,
Yeah,
not, being sure if you can afford to eat, those things will definitely radicalize you.
yeah, yeah. They also
And
cause trauma.
they also cause trauma, and trauma radicalizes you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like people lose their shit because they're traumatized.
Oh yeah. And
Uh,
unfortunately sometimes the trauma is so bad that, maybe that person doesn't come back from however far they retreated into
yeah,
themselves to survive the
right,
trauma.
right. It's dehumanizing,
It's intensely dehumanizing.
and
Yeah.
that's a huge problem in a democratic society, which is what we're supposed to have. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, like I started out saying, you look at the first half of Butler's career, or the bulk of Butler's career, honestly, and as a gangster for capital, he believed he was fighting for something else. He believed he was fighting for freedom, justice, the American way, and he became disillusioned about that
Yeah.
because of the business plot. When he was invited into this nefarious scheme,
Yeah.
which didn't really go away. It wasn't put down. Nobody went to jail. Just like in 2008, nobody went to jail.
Oh yeah. Enron
But
didn't
in
go to
2000,
jail. Sally Mae didn't go to jail. None of the fucking executives that caused the housing crisis of
right.
2008 went to jail. You know,
And
it's
we're still stuck in the aftermath of that.
yep. Yeah, cuz it keeps happening because the people that we elect aren't protecting us from it.
The people we elect are being put through this filtration process.
Yep.
And it's really freaking annoying. Look at what they're doing to Mamdani. Like, or that guy in Maine. Did you see that
Oh,
with
I
the
did. I did.
yeah,
It's so I on that point, if you say something that is shitty in your
yeah,
past and you're like, dude, that was shitty. But I no longer speak like that. I no longer behave like that because I have gone out of my way to educate myself.
right,
I'll be forgiving, groovy. That is an apology.
right.
But the fact that you have people who are called on their bullshit and they'll say, well, you can't prove it. It's AI. Everything's a lie.
Well, like like a perfect example with the Graham Planter thing. I think I just said his name wrong,
Ugh.
but
Yeah.
so his response has been, "I'm going to get the tattoo removed."
Yeah. And
Like,
calling things an AI fabrication as well.
I don't know. I haven't seen that
Yeah.
from him yet.
Yeah. I
What
saw.
I've seen from him was the like, I'm getting the tattoo removed. He like told the story about how drunk Marines. So this actually does tie right back to our topic.
Yeah.
Drunk Marines in Croatia picking out flash in a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
Never occurred to them that the flash on the wall in a tattoo parlor would include Nazi insignia, except they were in Split, Croatia. So, of course, there was Nazis because it's fucking Croatia.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like, he says, I'm going to get the tattoo removed. And there's a real paradoxical quality to that this is the same guy who had anti-fascist super soldier written on his body armor.
Yeah.
So like,
Talk about mixed messages.
well, and here's the thing is, maybe one of those other Marines that he was with that night when they were all drunk getting those tattoos was actually a Nazi.
Yeah.
And he was also the guy that nobody was willing to fight over what tattoo they got.
Yeah.
Because they were all going to get a tattoo, and it's like, yeah, we're not going to fight techs. We're just going to get the tattoo techs once, because
Yeah.
otherwise we all have to fight techs.
Yeah.
So like, I can like, if he goes through with getting the tattoo removed, if he walks the follow-up of this out, then we have to look at it through the lens of, this is Democratic Party oppo. Like, this is opposition research from the Democratic Party that they're deploying against this guy who's a like working class
Oh yeah.
former Marine.
Well, and that tells you how far right the Democratic Party has shifted.
Well, and the thing is that, where was all of this opposition research against the Republican Party being like just this, like, Trump's most recent nominees had to stand down because he like admitted to having a Nazi streak.
It's like I got a little bit of a Nazi.
I don't know, a little bit. I've said that, like, usually about like hygiene. when I was the hygiene when I was the food safety manager at an ice cream factory, which shall remain nameless, although I think if you know me well enough, you can find it on my Facebook page. Like, when I was the hygiene manager, the owner used to call me the hygiene Nazi. That
Hmm.
was my unofficial job title, years later it occurred to me that it's like, I bet that was some kind of discrimination I could have sued for. If this is a proper country, that was probably some kind of like workplace harassment.
Oh man. All right.
Like,
So Smedley Butler
Smedley
conspiracy.
Butler, the business. So the end of the story is that in 1948 or in 1940, less than a decade after he left the Corps and started being an anti-war activist, Smedley Butler suddenly died of throat cancer. Fast-acting throat cancer that took him out in under a year.
Interesting that it's throat cancer that they chose to
Int-
put on the certificate.
Well, like first of all, like a lot of things can cause throat cancer,
Mm-hmm.
especially fast-acting throat cancers, especially in the 1930s,
Yeah.
40. You know, so we just like we won't know what the America with Smedley Butler as fascist dictator might be like. We won't know what a World War II without Smedley Butler or World War II with Smedley Butler would have been like,
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as how the country might have developed in the aftermath of the war with a major populist progressive like him around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So
but
is the conspiracy that somebody thinks that he was offed?
oh, I'm sure. Like, yes, that is the theory. The
Yeah.
theory is that he was taken out by the same people who wanted to recruit him to be dictator, and when he started
When you
to
say
become
no, people like that take it personally.
well, yeah, well, and the thing is that like find me a Yankee Marxist who died of old age.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Good
Pete
point.
Seeger, but Pete Seeger was just a silly guy who sang songs.
Mm-hmm.
He never ran for office. He never like actually tried to change anything.
Yeah.
God bless him. I met Pete Seeger when I was a little child,
Yeah.
and like one of my happiest memories. But he
Nice.
wasn't. He was changing the world on a micro level that you don't need to like assassinate.
Yeah.
You can just sort of go, that guy's a hippie communist who sings to kids. Fuck him, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Yeah, but you start wielding real power, and then the eyeball of the mighty comes looking.
well, and all of a sudden, like that tattoo, that indiscreet statement about Mussolini derails your opportunity to, make a real difference in the world.
Yeah,
And
it's a surgical thing. When
and
you're
by the
able
time
to.
we sit down to record our next episode, we might be at war with Venezuela.
Shit.
Colombia thinks we already are.
Well, I mean, fair play to Colombia. For
It's a
for
shame that
like
there
that's
isn't like a big like international body, some kind of like united
like a tribunal or.
agents
Oh, I
kind of
know,
like
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
that'd be helpful,
that like actually enforced international law. That'd be cool.
right? Oh my God. I think we have squeezed as much as we can out of the good Smedley Butler.
Smedley, but like, well, the thing, like, when we talk about conspiracy theories, it's important to always be cognizant of the reality that there are conspiracies happening.
Oh yeah,
And some of the theories are based on factual understandings of like shit that happened.
yeah, yeah.
And some of the theories are smoke screens to distract you from what's actually going on.
Yep.
Like the Duke of York ceded his titles, and today during Prime Minister's questions, basically all three major parties of the British government, the Tories, Labour, and the Scottish National Party, all had leading members calling for Prince Andrew to be investigated and formally stripped by an act of Parliament of all his titles and removed from the Royal Lodge at Windsor.
So they did it before it could be forced.
Well, okay, so he did it voluntarily, but the Parliament is going through with which this is like not since his grandfather wanted to marry that Nazi woman.
Yeah.
Has there been like a parliamentary crisis on this scale within the British monarchy? And, it's like all because of Epstein.
Yep.
And the Epstein Maxwell syndicate was definitely involved in, if you follow Tara Palmeri at all, which you definitely should, she's a great expert. She and Whitney Webb are like my two go-tos.
Oh, I love Whitney Webb. I picked up her two books.
Like, if you can find Whitney Webb and Tara Palmeri talking about Epstein, it is like very educational. But Epstein was Palmeri referred to him as an intelligence fixer.
Yeah.
He wasn't CIA, he wasn't Mossad, he wasn't FSB, he was all of them.
Oh yeah, he was whoever could give him money. He was just collecting for money.
Yeah, he was collecting intelligence for money.
Yep.
And working all of these angles and all of these horrible things.
Yeah, and the intelligence agencies of each country know that this is happening. They certainly have the means to fucking stop it if they don't, and it's not stopping. So
they're not stopping us. Smedley Butler tried to warn us.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Smedley Butler tried to warn us, and we are living in the world that Smedley Butler warned us about.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Yeah. That's an uplifting ending.
I know, right? Oh, God.
Our viewer is going to write a letter.
Yeah, we're gonna get sternly sternly worded letters sent to my PO box. I don't know. I don't have a mailbox.
I don't know. Well,
but thank you again for watching us talk about this sort of thing. We really appreciate everybody who comes and checks us out. I will be going ahead and editing this, adding subtitles and all the trimmings, as well as show notes in YouTube when I post it later this week. We will be coming back in maybe 3 weeks. I'm going away for 2 weeks to learn how to do shamanic healing. And then
that works.
Yeah, so I'd say in about 2 or 3 weeks, we will be back. Thank you so much for your service and watching. And, if you can't be good at it.